So good afternoon, everyone, and I think we'll make a start. We're expecting a few others to join us, so I think we'll make a start. You're all very welcome to this IBM discussion, not a traditional challenge in the sense that we do them, but very much a discussion on partnership opportunities led by Noel Crawford at IBM. I think what we'll do is we'll ask Noel to kick off. I think he may have a couple of slides that we will take, or a discussion. We are also joined by Tim Crow from Workflow, and Tim has already a really good case study of a partnership with IBM and the value and the benefits that that brings. So I'm going to give it to Noel first to kick us off, and then I'm going to have a quick chat with Tim. And hopefully there's something in this. I think we'll take about 30 to 40 minutes, and hopefully there's something inside in this view. And really, this is not, to be very clear, this is a partnership opportunity, and how might you collaborate with IBM on a technology, on a sales channel approach, and whatever that might be. And Noel and the team are open to that. So maybe put yourself on mute for the moment. I'll hand you over to Noel, and when he's finished, then I'll come back in with a few questions and we'll get Tim in as well. So Noel, thank you for joining us, and hand it over to you.
Great, Connor. Thanks very much. Hiya, folks. And look, I know your time is precious as early stage organizations. So what I'm going to talk to you about hopefully will be of value and a good use of your time. I'm not going to use slides. I'd rather just talk this through. So I'm not sure how many of you know a lot about IBM. You've probably heard of us, but maybe aren't aware of what we actually do. So we have strategic offerings in the marketplace, and they're hybrid cloud and AI. So we're the world leader in AI. We're about 10 years ahead of the rest of the market, we believe, even taking into account Gen AI from OpenAI and all the other great stories that have been going around at the moment. But our product, Watson, has been in the market a lot longer than that, probably 20 years. We also have a huge differentiating factor, which is we provide governance through a product called Watson X.Governance. And that governance ensures that your models are only being trained by the data that you want them to be trained by, or your customers want them to be trained by. There's no stuff in the darknet going up there. There's nothing strange coming in. There's no information that hasn't been approved, and that's all done in an automated way through Watson X.Governance. And we're so strong in our belief in that we actually indemnify our partners if you've been using governance and there's an issue with data. So that's a pretty strong statement in the market. The hybrid cloud side of it is that we have everything that the hyperscalers have. So we would be a hyperscaler in that sense. But we're highly differentiated in our offerings in that we have the fastest bare metal hosts on the planet, especially for SAP. We have power in the cloud through Power VS. We are VMware's #1 partner for VMware on the cloud on the planet. And we've highly differentiated offerings there as well. And I'm going to put out during this, I'll put it out afterwards, an invite to an event we're having on that on the 13th of June. But then what's really important is that we have, for you guys especially, is that we have a platform layer above that infrastructure layer. We bought Red Hat a few years back, and that was specifically to get at OpenShift as a technology, a container technology. For microservices-based applications, but also we have our own IBM Kubernetes service, and we have serverless options with the likes of Code Engine. So that's the offerings that we really find resonate a lot, along with AI. We have other software, we won't go into that now, but along with AI, they're the technologies we find that really resonate with potential partners, software partners like yourselves. The idea here is that you would, partner with IBM in testing and running your technology on IBM container environments, and then we work with you to help you get to that point, to help you design what your infrastructure looks like, and then how you could run a SaaS business based off that infrastructure. And I think we've been quite successful doing that, and we've been quite successful doing that with Further as well, and the Innovation Exchange. So that's the technology side of it. Then there's the partnering side. If we have build section within our partner network. Our partner network is called Partner Plus. So you can just go on, you can apply to join. There's no problem there. You'll be able to join. And then if you look at the build stream within that, that's the stream that applies to people like you, for software organizations who are partnering with IBM, from the very start of your relationship once you go through build. There's different levels in the build program. I think the most important thing to know at the moment is that all those technologies we talked about are available to you through the build program for up to 6 months and up to €3,000 a month once we approve it. So you get about 18K in access now through the new build program to IBM technology. You can spend those on, on hybrid cloud services or on AI. And then when you spend above that, that's what you pay. So it's a real partner model. We don't want you just to jump in and say, well, we'll just start consuming this now. We'll go and have a look at it. We'll see if it fits our organization. We'll see how good IBM is at partnering, and then we'll make a commitment to go do it. So that's hugely important, because as you go through the levels of Partner Plus, you open new doors as regards higher discounting, you open new doors as regards marketing funding that you'll get through our distributors, and various other benefits. Some of the other benefits as you go through the gold and platinum layers is you can list your application on the IBM and Red Hat marketplaces. And that means that your software can be consumed as a tile on the IBM Cloud and on the Red Hat marketplace, which gives you an income stream. If successful, gives you an income stream that basically you have no cost of sale for. It just sits there and sells, gets consumed on the IBM Cloud. IBM gathers the revenue, and you get paid for the software that's being used in your product. So that's the IBM Build program. And then there's the third piece, which is the actual, in-person partnering. So there's lots of vendors that you can, work with in the marketplace, and some more successfully maybe than others. We don't spend a huge amount of money on marketing. That's not what we do. We tend to invest that money more in putting people on the ground to work in partnership with people like yourselves. So you won't be talking to an AI-driven bot if you have an issue with your contract, or you want to increase your order, or you want to order a new server. There'll always be somebody available physically to speak to, either on the phone or we'll come to your office and talk to you. I think Tim may touch on that a little bit later as well. We tend to like in-person interaction with our partners. So we've about 20 people working in partnering in this marketplace alone. And that doesn't include our digital sales staff based in our digital sales office in Dublin as well. So that's IBM's pitch to you as software providers. So what does IBM get from you becoming a partner? Well, first of all, you consume IBM Cloud services. It's at a discount, at a good discount, but we still make revenue from you. But you being on the IBM Cloud and providing your software as tiles on the IBM Cloud makes our cloud offerings, far more attractive to third-party customers. If they can go and buy your software as a service, sitting on a cloud that's IBM, they feel secure. I'm talking here about banks, insurance companies, and whoever else it might be, hospitals, public service. It's far more secure when it's sitting on an IBM Cloud platform. And that works for you and it works for us. So they tend to consume your products and then tend to consume more of the IBM Cloud because they like the way the products are being provided to them. So it opens up new markets for us as well. And we get a cut of the revenue that runs from your business being on our cloud. We take our piece around the cloud side of that. So that's kind of the pitch. We want to work with you. We're very used to working with Irish software companies. I personally ran the IBM ISV business for 9 years in Ireland. That's how I got to meet people like Connor and others in the marketplace. We really understand startups. We know what your problems are, and we know we can help with some of those things. So that's it. And I'll hand it back to Connor if he wants to run questions or if he wants to talk to Tim or whatever way he wants to run it.
Very good. Thank you for that overview, Noel. And I will come to the floor and take a few questions. But what might be useful to bring it to life is maybe Tim and Noel, we could have a three-way chat. But Tim, you've developed a very nice partnership. So maybe bring it to life for us and tell us kind of a little bit about that, the genesis of that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. So apologies there. I'm in the RDS, so there might be background noise from my headset. But yeah, I suppose just very quickly from a workshop perspective, we're a digital transformation company, and we work with factories, logistics companies across different sectors around the world. And we
No, we're losing you, Tim. You're not coming in at all. You're gone out there.
Maybe drop the video, Connor.
Yeah. Tim, maybe drop your video there, and we'll see. Can we just get you on voice, because it's kind of you're dropping in and out.
I've lost the mic now as well. Okay, just sorry about this. You hear me at all?
No.
Yeah.
No, maybe you might pop in there. So as Tim is setting himself up, just describe for us, if you will, your engagement with Tim, and maybe give it from your side while Tim is setting himself back up again.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, I'm on a different speaker. Okay, sorry about that. So what I was saying there, we provide we're a SaaS business then providing end-to-end connected supply chain solutions, and we're based in Limerick, and we have we're working globally. But I suppose our story then in relation to IBM is that we're a cloud-based SaaS company, and we are hosting our solutions, but with the main providers that are there. But I suppose we set up our SaaS projects and we put them on the cloud, or we did it all ourselves, but we got no support. But we know what to do, so it wasn't a big issue. But that was it. We just have providers giving us hosting, and that's it. Then myself and Noel were engaging a few times, and we had a chat and talking about IBM. So my honest initial reaction is, okay, they're the same, they do the same services to what we were using already. But then came the differentiator straight away, right? In that we're a small business, and so this is where we get tremendous support. So, and when I say support, is that as a small business and you're going for working with a big company and they're looking at you, and then anytime we want IBM to come into a meeting, IBM are there immediately. One phone call, they're there. So IBM support us in landing these deals and are with us wherever we need. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the IBM campus, met with their global sales team, and built up a network there. So this to me is I asked the tech guys, what's it like versus the alternatives, and they're really like the IBM cloud. Very easy to spin up new customers. Technically, they're very happy with it. But for me, having that partnership and be able to call on IBM to help us out whenever we need was an absolute out and out differentiator that has been absolutely fantastic. And when you're a small business and you're trying to grow your business, that's really, really important. And I wouldn't go back for anything, because we're finding new things every day. There's new, we have our own software, but then there's complementing software that IBM have, particularly around ESG, and there's lots of things that we're learning all the time. And so we only started there, I think, in January. We have 6 projects up there now, and we continue to grow that. But I'm talking straight as a small business like everybody else here, and it's one of the best decisions we've made, and we're already reaping benefits from that.
Thanks for that, Tim. Maybe explain to me the decision-making process, because I'm going to come to Noel and ask Noel about what's his decision-making process, who does he work with and why. But I guess from you, what was your decision process in looking at the market and looking at cloud providers and then deciding on IBM?
Well, yeah, the first thing is from a technical perspective, it had to be as good, if not better, at least the same, if not better than what we have already. And so we had to, like, that was just a go no go decision. But once the guys took a look and said, no, this is better, we can work better with this. So once I knew that, I said, right. Now the next thing that came back to me and said, well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for not just someone that's going to host it and say thanks very much for the revenue and keep growing there and coming back to us once a year. How are you getting on your targets? Are you selling your software? But for me, I was looking for more than that, and it's been that to me is the big differentiator, because back to my point is being a small business, that IBM backing behind you is already yielding benefits, because I just call an IBM the minute I get where I need to, and they say, well, we've got this organization behind us, and that is gold dust for us, to be honest, when you're trying to grow your business.
Fantastic. And for you, Noel, the decision process that you on behalf of IBM are deploying, what does that look like?
Yeah, this really comes down to me in the market, Connor. Okay, and as I said, I've been around a while. I mean, it's not my first rodeo. So, when I meet software companies, I tend to get a feel for them straight away. I tend to get a feel for where they're going to go, and the most important thing for me in this is where they're going to go. It's not well, I can partner with Janelle. I'm going to give you £100 a month, right, for your services, Noel. Thanks very much. That's not the primary driver behind this. It's the primary driver behind it is where we see you being in 5 years' time. And with workflow, for example, we have a view out into the future for the next couple of years of where workflow's pipeline of customers is, how they're finding them, how they invest in finding those customers, the quality of the customers they're talking to. They're not asking us to bring the customers to them, right? So we don't bring customers, except in that sense that I discussed earlier about making the product available on our marketplaces. We tend not to bring customers. We tend to only work through partners now. We don't really run customer relationships anymore. We prefer to run relationships with software companies like Workflow and like the folks on the call here, and managed services companies. That's where we tend to play in the marketplace now, except if you're talking about the 8 or 10 biggest banks in the world where we'll have direct relationships. So I'm looking for people who have their own relationships with clients, who know how to build them, who know how to build pipeline, because that's how I can see my business growing with those partners.
Very good. I'm going to come out to the floor for questions in a minute, but Tim, for you, so we've talked about the partnering from a technical level with IBM, but talk to me about the kind of revenue or the sales or the partnering opportunities from a customer perspective. What does that look like for you?
Well, I mean, for us, we always look, like, while we talk about the IBM partnership, we look at every client we work with as a partnership with them, and not just a project that we're doing. And so we're already with one client and another potential client where we're doing really well on one side. We go global, and that's where IBM are really important to us, because when we're going into the new regions and we're going global with our clients, that IBM are there to help us because they are global already. And when we go into these regions, they can help us with the scaling and help us with the support. So, for example, if we went last year into the US by going global with a partner, we haven't done anything in the US. Now, this is before IBM partnership, but I know in future that if I go anywhere in the world, that I can call Noel saying, Noel, this thing is, they were spinning up in anywhere in Europe or somewhere in the US, and I could have an IBM person with me and backing us up where we need it. So I think as we scale and grow and go more global, which we are doing, that we're with a partner that isn't just there saying, great, keep it going. They're there actually right on the ground, face to face if we need them. And if we don't need them, they're fine. We know they're there, but we've already had Noel and his team on the ground with us here in Ireland. So that like we're growing, we're scaling, we have ambition for the business, and knowing that we've got that backing behind us is a key piece of the jigsaw on our strategy for growth in the future.
So this all sounds too good to be true. So before we come back to you, Noel, Tim, what's the downside? I mean, does it mean that you are on a particular technology path and that's it? Does it mean that you are locked into one ecosystem and you can't get out? I mean, to have the backing of IBM as a small early stage SaaS company sounds amazing. Is there, or maybe there's not, but what might the downside be?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I could go and I could set up and a competitor of IBM tomorrow, and there's no problem. Now, I mean, what IBM look at that and say, well, we're going to be better than the rest anyway. So IBM would say, well, if we're better than the rest, Tim won't do that. And I don't see, like, I wouldn't bother. I mean, I would just say, well, I stick with IBM. And the thing there with that is, like, we're a SaaS, we're recurring revenue, right? And like we talked to Noel about the pricing model, and we agree it, and that's fine. I mean, it's no more complicated than that. And the thing is, like, IBM are innovative; they're coming up with new things, and I want to look at those things and how they complement us. And so, like, I can't see the downside really. I do see the downside on our previous because I was worried about, well, we were struggling. We had to make call after call and log in tickets to try and get someone to help us out with maybe technical issues. And if we were going anywhere in the world, well, you're on your own. And it's like we're not looking for anything complex. We just want a big company like IBM to provide us with the technology, which is a given in my view anyway. We're going to get it, but just to help us out and be there when we need it. And once I get that, it's no more complicated than that because I won't be going anywhere else. That's it's pretty simple ask.
Fantastic. I'll come out to the floor. Has anyone any questions or comments? I mean, if it seems like there's an opportunity here, Noel is saying I'm open to a discussion on partnering, which is around technology, which is around revenue. So it seems like a no-brainer, but I'll throw it open to the floor, and somebody has a question, maybe wants to jump in. No?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Connor. It's Paul Keneally here
Hi,
from
Paul.
a startup called Slick Plus. And thanks,
Hi.
Noel, and thanks, Tim, for your inputs. The main question I would have, I think you sort of touched on it there, but for startups like ourselves that are just starting off, and cloud and AI is a very important part of that. What is the situation if we're already, I wouldn't say tied in, but we're already sort of invested in other cloud services such as Amazon Web Services, for instance. But obviously with the IBM offering, there's a lot more potential there in terms of the actual technology partnership, I think.
Well, I'll just take a second because we are as well. So we are tied in with both. We are with AWS and Microsoft, but for our technical team, I said to them, I was a little bit worried about, well, have we got a whole pile of work on here that we're going to have to do? And the guy said no, so that it was seamless from that. So it's fine. It's pretty straightforward from our perspective. We just spun up our IBM partnership. We spun up the 6 projects already. The guy said to me, yeah, it's working fine. And we'll just scale and grow IBM. So we were able to without, as a small business, taking on a whole pile of extra work. It was actually very little. So it was very easy. And that was one of my concerns, but it turned out to be, I was watching the technical guys. I don't want you doing something we're not getting paid for. And but they did it so fast. I said, okay, that's great. We moved on.
Great stuff. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, and I don't have too much to add to that. Thanks very much, Tim. That was great. Just to say that, you know, we do describe ourselves as the hybrid cloud company, and there is a reason for that. We are not coming along saying to either customers or partners, look, you should dump all the workloads you've already invested in on other clouds and all the knowledge you've invested. That's not what we're saying. We're saying there's different horses for different courses. IBM is the best technology company for hybrid cloud, and also for bare metal and for performance and for security. So if they're the things that, you know, turn you on, then IBM is the best place for that. But we also recognize that you have invested in knowledge on other platforms. So what we've done is we've invested in our own technologies called IBM Satellite. If you know AWS well, you'd know AWS Outpost, but you know the limitation of Outpost is it'll work with your on-prem workload, AWS cloud workloads. IBM Satellite works with all workloads. So you can have an appliance in a data center, or you can have a piece of software running on a server in your AWS cloud or your Azure cloud, and you can then manage all of that, including your IBM cloud and your on-prem, through a single pane of glass called IBM Satellite, which sits on OpenShift. And OpenShift is the common factor then across all of those locations. You can run OpenShift anywhere, and OpenShift talks to OpenShift. So yeah, that's really important. The one thing that people may not know is on Azure, for example, is 40% of the workloads in Azure run on RHEL, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and that's IBM. So if you are running on RHEL, you're running on IBM already.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Noel.
Thanks, Paul. Eugene, did I see you stepping up to the plate there? Was there something you wanted to add in?
Well, I just wanted to sort of encourage our audience from the SME side to not be as skeptical as I think I have seen amongst the SME community in relation to engaging with a large global player, because having been there, having done partnerships with large players, including IBM, very successfully, I have to say, there's a period of just getting comfortable with it. So I think Tim has done an excellent job there of showing how Tim recognized that it was going to be a two-way street from the off, and that you have to bring something to IBM as well. Now, Noel can't be asked to overemphasize that, but you have to appreciate that there's self-interest in this, and it's not it's not where there, you know, IBM is charitably trying to help Irish industry. It's where there's a great Irish offering, and that it can work to the benefit of both parties. Where IBM has effectively a distribution network, and that's just a distribution network of contacts, because large contacts, CTOs and large organizations will always take a call from IBM. So I think that once you tap into that, well, then you also have to be bringing something meaningful for IBM. And that's more than the wonderfulness of the product. It's to be participative, to be inviting IBM along to your meetings. They may not attend, but at least they feel invited and that you're being participative. So there's a sense of being real in brokering the relationship. And I think people like Noel have great experience of what works and what doesn't work.
Thanks, Eugene, for that. I'll come out to the floor now, so if you do have a question, just get it ready there and we'll come. Noel, you mentioned you have an event coming up in a couple of weeks that we could possibly attend.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, there's two events coming up. We've got IBM Engage on, I think that's on next week. I think it's either the 5th or the 7th. So I'll get the invitation out to you for that, Conor, and you can distribute it. That's
Please.
mainly around our AI offerings. It's kind of a half-day event, and there's some great speakers at that. It's up on IBM campus here. We're just off the M50, so it's easy to get to. And that'll be a fantastic event. I think there's about 150 people registered for that event already. It's huge, but yeah, we quite welcome to come along. And then I'm running an event myself the following week on the 13th in Peggy's on the Green. And that's about the VMware licensing challenges. So you may or may not all be aware that Broadcom has simplified, in inverted commas, their licensing. And what they've done is they've said, instead of being able to buy particular pieces of their software individually, you now have to buy a full pack of the software. Now, that's great if you're using a lot of different pieces of their software, but it creates challenges if you're only, say, using vSphere or a couple of products, then your charges have increased. So we have, you know, what's the word? We're an intermediary, if you like, between VMware and the customer and partner community. We have a global arrangement with them, and we have our own pricing, and we have our own strategies with contract types to minimize those pricing impacts on people. And we're talking about all of that and how we layer AI into the VMware story in Peggy's on the Green. And that, again, is a half-day event with lunch in town, and you're more than welcome to register and attend. Fantastic.
Noel, if you send both of those over, we'd be delighted to put them out to the base, and if anyone is interested, they can come and join. David, I see you have your hand up. Very good. Come in there and pose a question. You're very welcome.
Hi, Conor, and thanks for the both of you for organising this. A quick one, just Noel, on the startups that you typically tend to work with. So my startup is called Volflow. We essentially provide a renewable energy management system for, say, solar, batteries, heat pumps, etc., behind the meter. And we've had progress talks with the likes of the ESB, because I know they're doing ongoing projects with the likes of VMware around energy efficiency projects, especially. Is there any appetite in IBM for projects in that space, or is this? I'm just curious around what type of projects you tend to work with, or am I in the wrong?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. So, and we can have a chat again, but IBM Research is working quite heavily in various parts of the world on that, and I believe some of that research is going on in Dublin. We've the only IBM Research Lab in the European Union is based here in Dublin, which is great, on the campus that I'm sitting on currently. We do some research there, but we also have a suite of products, sustainability products. And Tim did mention earlier that, you know, he's also working with us looking at some of those products. But we've got a great reporting product. I think it's the leading product in the marketplace, called Visi. We bought it a couple of years ago and integrated into the IBM suite of offerings. And that's for reporting on all that stuff that you're doing in the background there. So how do you make this real? How do you actually know what's going on with sustainability, energy consumption, all of that stuff in the background? So how do you measure the impacts of the things you're doing with your software? So we do a lot of that, yeah. And you know, we provide green energy in our data centers, and So look, yeah, there's definitely a conversation to be had there.
Super. Thanks, Noel.
Thanks, David. Anyone else want to pop in and say a quick hello or pose a question or anything before we let Noel and Tim on their way? Anything else that we can help you answer? While they're thinking that, I guess next steps, Noel, we'll follow up with a note out to our base. If anyone is interested, we'll ask them to come along to the events, or indeed if they want a direct connection to you, you'd be happy for us to facilitate a direct introduction. And yeah,
Absolutely.
Just add to that, if anybody there on the call wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn or talk to my technical team about the experience, quite happy to do that. If anyone wants to dig a little bit deeper and get into the technical side from our perspective, that's fine.
Thanks so much, Tim, for that. No questions in closing from anyone? Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Noel, thanks so much. Tim, thanks so much as well. We'll follow back with those events when you send them over to us. And if anyone wants direct introductions to either Tim or to Noel, we're happy to facilitate that. And there might be an interesting conversation to be had. And so with that, I'll wish you all a very good day. And Noel, thanks so much. Tim, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
See you
Cheers.
guys.